Life along the Gulf seems to be getting back to normal. Gone are the images of oil-soaked birds and thick black sludge. On the surface, it appears BP has cleaned up much of its mess. But beyond the beauty lies a grim reality. Thousands of victims, fishermen and others are still out of work and can't get paid.
$5,000? Do not insult me.
Initially, their anger and frustration was directed at BP.
Man, I got child support I gotta pay, about to go to jail for, and all kind of other stuff.
Now, it's focused on this man.
If they don't get paid, there's a reason that they don't get paid.
Kenneth Feinberg is one of the most powerful and influential attorneys in the United States. He was hired by BP and given total control over a $20 billion trust fund. His job is to pay off angry victims whose lives were suffocated by the largest oil spill in U.S. history. To somebody filing a claim, would you describe this as a complicated process for them to go through?
No, this is not complicated at all.
But try telling that to the tens of thousands of victims whose claims have not been paid.
It's always a problem with need more documentation. We don't have the right form. You'll have to come back. Well, we lost your paperwork.
Alabama Attorney General Luther Strange is one of Feinberg's harshest critics. His office has been inundated with complaints.
I was in the Gulf of Mexico 2 weeks ago. I had grown men and women crying.
Victims on the brink of bankruptcy say the process for filing a claim is slow and overwhelming.
This system is hurting so many.
Olga Souders is a licensed insurance adjuster who spent 3 months working as a subcontractor inside Feinberg's organization.
You know, if we were working and reviewing claims too quickly, we were tapped on the shoulder. Slow down. Slow down. Look, we want to have jobs for the next 3 years, right? Just take your time, slow down.
Who told you this?
Management, team managers.
Upper management.
Upper management.
Within the Gulf Coast Claims Facility.
Within the Gulf Coast Claims Facility.
Told you to slow down.
Slow down.
In a letter to members of Congress, she accuses Feinberg's organization of deliberately delaying claims, unethical business practices, and the possible mishandling of funds. Why'd you send this? What's your motivation? Why speak out?
I tell my children all the time, stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And what has happened to this region is wrong.
Why we can't get the rest of our money on the...
But somebody has got to stand up for the injustice that's going on for so many people.
Her letter alleges many denied claims were never evaluated, and documentation submitted by victims was never reviewed. Are you willing to raise your right hand and testify before members of Congress or before a court of law about these things?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is the right thing.
While the number of claims was skyrocketing, she says Feinberg was slowing down the process by laying off hundreds of employees.
Nearly 400 people in early September.
Qualified?
Qualified, well-seasoned.
Licensed?
Licensed adjusters.
To slow down the process even further, she says the Gulf Coast Claims Facility cut off their ability to contact victims by phone.
We were not allowed to speak to anybody. We could not call anyone. They couldn't call us. The extensions no longer worked. There was no way for them to reach us or for us to reach them.
Souders was laid off in October of 2010. She's now working as a consultant and represents several victims who have filed claims. She's currently cooperating with investigators in 2 states and was recently interviewed by prosecutors in Mississippi who claim Feinberg may be breaking the law.
I think he's in violation of our Consumer Protection Act. I think he's created a bait-and-switch scam, just like any other scam artist that comes into my state and violates our Consumer Protection Statute.
Mississippi Attorney General Jim Hood has slapped Feinberg with an investigative subpoena.
I want his emails with BP, his emails with the administration. I want to know how this deal was set up.
He's demanding access to a laundry list of documents, financial records, and just about every communication between Feinberg, his law firm, and BP.
I'm ready to have unfettered access to go into the claims offices, look at the files, look on the electronic files, any place that we're entitled to look to try to determine if he is in violation of our Consumer Protection Act, and I think he is.
And if he is, what will you do?
If he is, we're going to hold him accountable. There are criminal sanctions for that as well. Especially if there's been some conspiracy between he and BP to steer people into this claims process.
The Attorney General says Feinberg has failed to fully comply with the subpoena, so now he's taking him to court.
Once we get the evidence on his claims process, we'll clearly be able to show that he's done nothing but delay. We hope they go away. The same MO the insurance industry used after Katrina when I had to sue them.
Feinberg claims the allegations are ridiculous.
Absolutely false.
And describes Souders as a disgruntled employee.
And I think that overall, the program has worked as was anticipated.
A year after the disaster, more than 750,000 victims have filed claims. Feinberg has paid less than 40%.
So you think the system's fair?
I think the system is fair.
Efficient?
I think the system's very efficient.
I was stood there and lied to.
But thousands of angry victims certainly disagree.
I submitted a $135,000 claim. I have all my trip tickets, over 100 documentation standing here that went to your office. You know what you paid me, Mr. Feinberg, for 6 months? $600 I got paid.
While victims are literally begging for money,
what you want me to do, get on my knees and beg you for it?
Feinberg and his firm are making millions.
How much are you getting paid?
How much I am getting?
How much is your law firm getting paid?
Law firm's getting paid $1,250,000 per month.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
Critics claim that hefty paycheck creates an incentive for Feinberg's organization to slow down the process. The longer it takes, the more he makes.
Mr. Feinberg talks about, well, we're going to pay these claims in 90 days. Well, if the 90-day period starts to run, they send you a request for a new document. And guess what? When they send you that request for a new document, the 90-day period starts again. Starts running again. So they can just, on their own, keep extending it out and dragging people out, and that's what we're seeing.
For tens of thousands of victims, a grim reality is setting in. The oil may be gone, but the long-term effects are still taking their toll.